Yo ho ho, Bills Mafia. Welcome to another edition of Don Mafia Live. Your host, Dan Mitchell. It is Tuesday. June 20th, and you are watching Don Mafia Live, your go-to show Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. EST for all things NFL, accompanied by some of the best amateur analysis on the face of the planet from a fan that just is absolutely passionate about his Buffalo Bills. We are into the lull of the season when it comes into Bills news or NFL news for the most part. Vast majority of these news networks are going around and just putting out all of these fluff pieces, and they are quite simply just making complete articles about very nominal statements from players, something along the lines of, man, that Kenny Pickett, he's looking good. And then they write some like 5-page article about that. But you know what? I decided that I at least want to give you some sort of substance for every single time that I go live. And I'm very excited to discuss today. Last week was probably one of the largest anxiety-driven, I would say, as far as Stefon Diggs, right? I mean, really just a quick history lesson. I know that you guys already know this, but the guy didn't end up showing up to the first day of minicamp. It turns out that him and McDermott ended up getting into some sort of scuffle, and then McDermott ended up excusing him for the first day of practice, and Diggs was back, and all of us started celebrating. Well, there's been a few articles, and it seems like that we finally understand why Stefon Diggs was angry in the first place. And quite frankly, I am not angry about it whatsoever. I see it being very reasonable of what he would like to see as a change going on into the 2023 season. And then hopefully I can answer all of your questions today, and hopefully I can convince several of you that he is not wrong. But I'm confident that our team is going to be able to give him exactly what he wants. As always, Don Mafia Live is brought to you by the Manta Sleep Mask. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure about you guys, but my anxiety and my mind is always moving a million miles a second, especially at nighttime. I mean, normally I would consider myself to be the most productive at night, but it's sort of a double-edged sword in that perspective. I am tossing and turning till about 2 a.m. I'm thinking about my next day. This thing has really allowed me to focus on exactly what I need, and that is getting sufficient sleep so I could be the most productive self I could possibly be. This is the most comfortable sleep mask I have ever worn in my entire life. It literally blocks out all lights. It has these very comfortable eye cup holders where it's not completely smushing my eyes when I'm trying to relax. And the amount of REM sleep that I have been getting. Say, for example, I have my Apple Watch on. I am seeing my REM sleep numbers go through the roof with this thing, and it has really changed my overall productivity and everything along those lines. They have several different models, several different colors. They are a fantastic gift as well. I got one of these for my mother for Mother's Day, and she absolutely loves it because she is also very high anxiety, very difficult for her to go to sleep as well. But this thing, literally life-changing. If you have a hard time napping, for example, I couldn't take a nap to save my life until I found this thing, or getting sufficient amount of sleep right before a hard day's work the following morning. Seriously, look into this. They are hooking up my audience. As long as you go to their website and put in the code Don Mafia, you are going to get an additional 10% off. I guarantee you, for everyone that I know that has purchased one of these, that's absolutely been life-changing. So check out Manta Sleep Mask if you really like getting your sleep on. We got a lot of people in here today, man. Tuesday morning. How was everybody's weekend? How was everybody's Father's Day? No doubt's coming in saying, why? Why was Stefon Diggs angry? My friend. We're going to get into that, baby. I got to say hi to everyone that's coming in. Dan Everett's coming in saying, I'm drunk. My man. Tuesday morning hammered. Listen, man, nothing wrong with that. No shame in that. And frankly, I am allowed to be. Listen, brother, it's a free country. It's a beautiful thing. Hillslayer's coming in saying, I'm high. Dude, look at that, man. All right. Thomas Staples is coming in saying, what's up, bro? Top of the morning to you, locked in with you. I'm very interested to hear what his problem is. Listen, man, it's very good, but luckily, well, it's not good. Obviously, I could see why the man was frustrated, but I think it's very, very easy to be fixed going into it. That's for sure. Elijah is coming in saying, shalom, let's go Diggs. Absolutely. C-Teach 101 is saying he made Bum Allen throw him the ball. Bro, it's getting so cringy. it's getting so cringy when these Dolphins fans just come in. Like it's so unbelievable. Like now, like we just sort of treat it as like a 7-year-old, like trying to chirp like a grown man. Like it's pathetic. It's almost cute. It's like, like this guy really believes that. Like, look at that. Like it's basically like someone like being like 18 and still believing in like the tooth fairy or something like that. You know, like that's like how serious we take any of those takes anymore. Diggs restructured to bring in another top tier receiver. I hope Kincaid can bring that edge, but we can't count on a rookie until we can. I am high as hell on Kincaid. I really am. I think that he is going to have a wonderful season. And I am still very hopeful that he could be the first tight end ever to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. But sometimes I need to take a step back and I need to say, hey, Dan, he is a rookie, right? Is there going to be a learning curve for this first year? Can we rely on him to be? I certainly hope so. From what we've seen in the spring, shorts, T-shirts, it's a strong possibility that he can be a contributor, but can he be like that true number 2 target for Josh Allen? We have to hope. We have to hope right now. That's just how it works out. King Jamie the Mad, our resident Chiefs fan that is in Don Mafia Live on a regular basis. So happy to see you, brother. Hope your weekend was wonderful, my friend. Mike Green saying sleep is overrated. I used to think that too, man. But it's sometimes like, I'm not sure, say that you guys ever watch any of my streams, but sometimes you'll notice that I'm a hell of a lot more well-spoken in some of them. And sometimes clearly not there, right? I'm stumbling over my words. I lose train of thought very quickly. 9 times out of 10, it's because my ass is tired, bro. Like I'm like 3 or 4 hours deep from the night before, hence why. So back in the day, I was all about that, man. I always used to flex on the fact that I could sleep 3-4 hours a night and be the most productive I could. That was back in my 20s. Like now, bro, like I'm worthless. If I'm worthless if I don't have anything good. It's a traffic was bad, and because of the Juneteenth parade in Buffalo. Yeah, most definitely. Bank holiday yesterday. I enjoyed a little bit of that. Relaxed. Me and my dad ended up having a second day together. It's great because I never really have an opportunity of hanging out with my dad much. So we did Father's Day, and then we did a little bit yesterday too, which was fantastic. So I definitely appreciate everybody tuning in, having patience for me for not going live yesterday. But hey, man, you know, long weekend, wanted to hang out with Pops. And so I haven't had a good nap since the cattle wagon in basic training. My man. My man. And so I haven't heard Diggs say anything yet. Don't believe Boston reporters. Yeah, but we're going to look into it because you know why? I think it has some traction. I really do. Brandon Day is saying, Dan, is it me or does it feel like the national news narrative is down on the Bills because they all picked us to win it last year and we didn't? No, or upset. Brandon Day, that's funny you say that. Bills Mafia Happy Hour today. Title of the live stream for Bills Mafia Happy Hour is going to be the Buffalo Bills are disrespected. Again, the disrespect is back for the Buffalo Bills. All right. Past 2 years, we enjoyed them absolutely meat riding us. Now that disrespect is back. So that's going to be the main topic of next stream on 5 p.m. EST. But I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, you all came here because we need to discuss why he was frustrated. And then this is precisely what a lot of people are saying. Just go ahead and make sure that you guys can see my stream right here. Stefon Diggs' frustration with Bills stems from rolling offense, voice in play calling per report. So there's no question that we ended up seeing a lot of these rumors when it first started that Diggs was upset about his overall production. And realistically, I do want to sort of nip this in the butt because you look at this right here, right? This were his stats last year. 154 targets, 108 receptions, nearly 1,500 yards, and 11 touchdowns. Accounted for 29% of the Bills' receptions in 2022, which was tied for the 3rd highest in the NFL last year. I mean, as far as his role in the offense, there's no way on the face of the planet that he could be angry about that. Dude is 3rd in the NFL. How much more can you give the guy? When he accounts for 29% of the offense, he's clearly the undoubtedly number 1 receiver for this league. So I'm not even necessarily sure if I believe that, but I can believe this. I can believe the voice in play calling, one of the two. Now, this is really interesting because when you think of anybody that is involved in an overall offensive play calling, obviously the offensive coordinator, and then say, for example, you have an absolute dog as a quarterback right? He's going to have a say. I haven't necessarily heard of a wide receiver having any sort of voice in play calling ever in my entire life. I have never heard of a wide receiver that legitimately had a say as far as when it came down into play calling by itself. But does it make sense, right? Does it make sense for Stefon Diggs to have a little bit of a voice? I mean, say, for example, that I reflect back into the whole Cincinnati Bengals playoff game. Absolutely. 110%. It makes a lot of sense for Stefon Diggs to be involved in that because let's be honest with ourselves. Dorsey just really didn't change things up whatsoever. Zero adjustment. And we hear this on the show all the time that our biggest complaint when it comes down in right into Dorsey, and then even with Leslie Frazier last year as well, they just refused to adjust. I'm sure Josh Allen had a say in some of the play calling by itself, but Stefon Diggs, maybe that had to do with the fact of why he was angry. Maybe he was sitting there saying, don't listen to Dorsey. Let's talk about this play. Let's talk about that play. One of the two. So I think Diggs would definitely have a right to be angry about not being involved in overall like play calls. Like at least, for example, like him being able to have a conversation with Dorsey in game, just being like, hey, listen, like this DB has been absolutely muffing it each and every single play for the past quarter. Let's run this. Let's run that. Let's get this guy involved. I mean, honestly, like you can trust your quarterback to look at the field and see what's going on, but I think getting a perspective from a wide receiver makes sense, right? He's going to be able to point out a lot of weaknesses in secondaries. He's going to be able to point out a lot of weaknesses in overall coverages. So Diggs being upset that he doesn't have a voice in play, but like in play calling, I think that could be a very easy fix, right? That could 1,000% be a great fix because outside of the quarterback, when it comes down into seeing what's going on in the field, obviously that quarterback's going to be number one, especially when it comes into coverages, some potential weaknesses. But when it comes into like the wide receiver, pointing out specific weaknesses, especially within opposite team personnel, I think that Diggs is not wrong here. I really don't, especially with a caliber, especially with somebody that is so high up and is so significant to this offense. I feel like you have to give Diggs a say in this overall situation. So that's what the media is portraying, or that is the current rumor. I think it has a lot of weight. I think it's carrying a lot of weight as into why he was angry. It was voice and overall play calling. I think we can all agree that his overall role, like in the offense, maybe outside of one or two games specifically, I mean, dude accounted for 29% of the overall receptions, third highest in the NFL, and nearly broke down 1,500 yards and 11 touchdowns. You can't be angry about that. So I think the true reason is that, quite simply, Diggs just wanted to be a part of play calling. So now as we transition over on into the live chat, we start discussing a little bit about what people might want. Would really love to hear your thoughts on that. Would really love to hear your thoughts on exactly how it comes down into it. What up, Black United, man? Thank you so much for tuning in. Dude, I'm seeing a lot of new names up in here, baby. I'm seeing a lot of new names up in this live chat right now. Let's talk a little bit, man. We're talking about Stefon Diggs, why he was angry. And let me go on ahead and just like sort of put this out in the open. Dude, so many opposite fan bases from like the Buffalo Bills were praying that they would see a headline that Stefon Diggs has demanded a trade. Not at all. Not at all. Sounds like things were completely fine during minicamp. They talked things out. And I was really hoping that I could be a fly on the wall during that conversation where they say, yeah, hey, Diggs, listen, from now on, what we're going to start doing is that when it comes down into overall game plans, it's me, it's Josh, in the lab. We're putting together a solid game plan that's going to take out this defense. We want you at the table as well. And then we also want you to report back about things that you're seeing and not have to play a whole game of telephone for it to go back up into the podium to get back into Dorsey, which is absolutely wild. So Troy said, and so I heard it was the pay cut he did so that we could sign D-Hop, and upset that they didn't sign him. I'm not necessarily sure that would like carry a lot of weight from there. I think that he just took a pay cut because he's getting a hell of a lot more money up front when it comes down into it. It wasn't a pay cut. It was a restructure. He's still getting that same amount of money. It was just sort of moved right toward the end of the line by itself. It's funny, like, when people say that because I feel like that was half of the problem, like, over in Minnesota, was Adam Thielen. Like, I'm sure his relationship with Adam Thielen was fine, but I feel like when Diggs isn't, like, is not the focal point of the offense, that's gonna cause some issues with it. I'm not particularly sure that Diggs would even want a player like that on the roster. Like, I've heard the opposite. And so I've heard the opposite. I've heard that Diggs was upset that we were even looking at getting DeAndre Hopkins. But then I've also heard that he was upset that we didn't. So, but I'm still thinking that it has to go with play calling. I'm still thinking that it has to go with play calling. Multi Blocks is coming in. Yo, man, listen, definitely nice to meet you. I think it's the first time I've ever seen you in this live stream. Super great. Guys, once you're coming in, first off, make sure you smash that like button. It's completely free. It takes less than a second, and it really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. And make sure you subscribe, baby, because I go live twice a day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. EST and 5 p.m. EST. It's not just Bill stuff. It's also NFL stuff. If that's your cup of tea, man, join the family. We have a lot of very fun things planned for not only the offseason, which I know you guys are salivating for this damn season to start. So am I. I'm going to do my best to entertain you until training camp starts coming up. So we have some real stuff to talk about. But this upcoming season, bro, this upcoming season for the Buffalo Bills, I have so many plans for this channel. Man, it's going to be a damn year. And then hopefully that's just like, it's a good thing where we can go on ahead and take that momentum, and then maybe it translates over into the Bills and then just go from there, baby. I mean, things are looking good. And so imagine if Diggs is the green dot, throw it to me, fake throwing it to someone else, then throw it to me, fake run. Oh, dude, I would love it. Ryan, what up, bro? What's up? Yo, you're here early? Cool. Yep. All right, man. DF forever. Dan, I am normally with you 100,000%, but I think this is a bad narrative that a wide receiver should have more to say. In play calling, wide receiver cannot possibly see the entire field and know what is going on. I mean, listen, man, I definitely see where you're coming from 110%, but the way that I look at a lot of these things, and so a way that I look at a lot of these things is if that is really all he wants, and if he just wants a seat at the table, like just to at least put his input, like I feel like he just wants his voice heard. And somebody that is that important to our offense, if he just wants to be a part of the meetings, right? Or if he just wants to like say one or two things to Dorsey during the game, whether or not that he's pointing out somebody on the personnel side when it comes down into the overall defense, yeah, why not? And so I really don't think that that's going to cause a lot of harm. I think he just wants to be heard. At the end of the day, I think that dude just wants to be heard, not necessarily that he wants Dorsey to listen to everything that he has to say. If that's all he wants, do it, man. I'm not upset about it whatsoever. So play calling at the beginning of the year was much better with Dorsey, but he didn't evolve or create new concepts as the year went on. I 100% understand where you were coming from right there. So do you think we have a wide receiver 2 competition? A wide receiver 2 competition, man? Yes, most definitely. I think that Gabe Davis by himself, he's 1,000% more of a wide receiver 3. He's going to produce a hell of a lot more as a wide receiver 3. Number 2, it's going to be hard. I mean, honestly, like I've said before, like Crispy, I'm thinking that from the Bills' perspective, from their overall perspective, I think it's more about overall targets. So I feel like it's going to be who is Josh Allen's number one person that he looks for rather than the title of wide receiver. I'm hoping that that becomes Dalton Kincaid out of the tight end. I really do. I really hope that that's going to be the tight end situation. But as far as lining up on the outside, there's definitely some things to think about. Sherfield's been looking good in camp. I mean, granted, it's shorts and t-shirt. He's got the size. He has similar speed rate to Diggs, so maybe he might be it. But as far as lining up on the outside, I think I can almost guarantee you that we're going to be seeing a lot of Sherfield and then maybe Shorter. I mean, say the rookie comes out and starts making some moves. Maybe Gabe Davis will be on the outside. Who knows? Who knows? But things are going to be going up with that. What's up, Dan? Go Bills. Go Bills is right, bro. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so I have a better narrative. A man with that much talent, could he be most upset that there are not many trick plays set up for a man that was with that kind of talent? remember, playbooks just came out. Okay, I have a better narrative. A man with that much talent, could he be more upset that there are not many trick plays set up for a man of his kind of talent? I mean, it's definitely a possibility, right? It is 1000% a possibility of the overall like playbook situation, but I don't think that that's going to be set in stone, right? So I think that Dorsey, like there was a clip I think during camp specifically, and so there was something, um, a clip where it showed Dorsey like showing him a page of something, and then everyone was like, "Look, man, I just drew you up a new play." You know, Stefon Diggs was excited about it, like whatever. Um, but maybe we shall see. But I think it's more so of an adjustment situation, and so I think it's more so like of an adjustment situation than anything else. That's me. It's Diggs, then who is the safety net for Josh Allen? Hopefully Dalton Kincaid. Hopefully Dalton Kincaid. That right there is my largest hope. That's the reason that we drafted the guy. I think that he's a glorified receiver, this kid, so I'm really hoping that that's going to be what comes out of it. Luis Matos is coming in saying, I think Diggs is upset because of the play calling and the coaching. Yeah. And so I think that is the case. I also think that he just wants a little bit more say in overall adjustments. I think adjustments are the reason why he was angry, because he kept seeing the same shit. And say that you look at that overall like Bengals game, like there really wasn't a lot of improvisation, right? I mean, we were just running like very similar routes all the damn time. So who even knows? Michael, our resident Browns fan, is coming in. And so it's an interesting conundrum, and the Bills find themselves in, I personally haven't heard of a wide receiver having say in an offense. Neither have I. And so I could see frustration with getting Diggs open as he's doubled a lot. He really is. Like, I mean, that's why I was so confident going on into this season that he's a smart guy. He's got to be a smart guy. He has to understand that he literally was the only option when it came like, and so the only for sure option or consistent option for the most part. I think that when it comes down into it, and so I think when it comes down into it, he just needs to, I don't know, like realize and like hope for the best that like now that we've ended up making some of these other moves, that we have people that can create separation, such as Dalton Kincaid or Trent Sherfield, et cetera, then maybe all of his issues are going to be resolved this year. I personally thought it was more of a personnel issue. And in fact, I think I might even like marry this take. I might marry this take right here, ladies and gentlemen. I really think that last year wasn't so much as a play calling issue, but a lot. Okay. It was a play calling issue, but I think equal the blame was personnel to execute it. I really do. When you don't have a good slot option, that consistently gets open like Cole Beasley did back in his prime, you're going to struggle. You really are. Because statistically, the Bills looked fine as far as your comparison between Dable and then also Dorsey, outside, of course, of the red zone, but that could also be explained by lack of personnel out of the slot. So hopefully this is how it works. Buffalo home. And so is McDermott on the hot seat if they can't get past the divisional round this year? Shady McCoy said no, but Emmanuel Ako thinks yes. Okay, so first off, I do want to say that Emmanuel is a wannabe Nick Wright as far as when it comes down into a Bill hater. Like, dude, I have never seen anybody outside of Nick Wright want the Bills to fail more than that Emmanuel clown. Here's the deal. I don't think that McDermott will be on the hot seat. The only way McDermott would be on the hot seat this year, the only way that he would be on the hot seat this year would be if we don't make the playoffs at all. Or we're not. Yeah. I do think that we are going to do better than the divisional this year. I sincerely do. But let's talk about an alternate like universe where we don't make the playoffs. I think the next person to be on the hot seat would be Ken Dorsey. It wouldn't be McDermott. Say that it happens again the following year, then yes. I think that Sean McDermott has another lifespan of not winning a Super Bowl for 3 years. And so I don't see a hot seat until 2 years for McDermott, but then that's the case. How many running backs do you see the Bills dressing on Sunday, and who is going to be our third down back? Brandon Day, that is beautiful. I see us dressing 3. I see us very much so, like running a running back by committee. I see a lot of the initial snaps going to Damian Harris, James Cook, and then our third down back, you might ask, especially in short yardage situations, Latavius Murray. Latavius Murray, baby. I am loving every second of it. I'm high on that guy. I think he still got it. Let's make it work. And so I think Hardy is going to be wide receiver 2. Why pay him multiple years unlike everyone else? He's got to be looking at a wide receiver 2 or 3 spot, as I can imagine. He's on the smaller side. I'm pretty sure he's 5'6", Deontay Hardy. Yeah, dude, he's 5'6". I really don't see the guy being on the outside. I think that would just be a matchup nightmare for him, especially say that he's going up against 6'1" cornerbacks. I don't even know. Let's make that work. Josh, yes, Diggs is demanding flea flickers. Is that true? Oh, shit. Is that Josh Allen? We don't even know. DF Forever, thanks for being open to my thought. Yeah, dude, absolutely, man. Have to be open. Happy to hear all of your takes. I definitely enjoy all of them. And so they have to get out of the norm play calling. The defensive line makes new plays on off awareness knowing who you're playing. Absolutely. Ryan S. And so do you think Diggs lining up more in the slot would be a good idea going forward? I feel like he's such a threat on the outside, man. He really is. I mean, matchups would probably be better for him. And he's lined up out of the slot a couple of times, not quite as often as he does on the outside. But I honestly think that our slot issues are 1,000% going to be addressed by Dalton Kincaid. Everyone's really high on Shakir. I hope that he can ball out. I really do. I hope that he makes that next step. We're just going to have to see. Jordan Smith is saying, how many of our receivers are signed past 2023? I think only a couple of them, like Hardy and Sherfield, I think are only on 1, maybe 2-year deals. I could be wrong. I could check Spot Track. Gabe Davis is a free agent next year, so that's interesting, but we will see what is going on. And so it might be late, but so did you hear that reports about Diggs being angry because when Bean asked him to restructure, he told Diggs it was to get Diop, and Diggs was like, no. I think he was just angry that he doesn't want so Diggs just quite simply wants more say in play calling. That's what I think it is. I don't think that D-Hop was – and so I don't think that D-Hop was a part of the equation at all. I think what makes the most sense is that dude just wants to say in play calling. That's me. And so I don't think that D-Hop was involved at all, in my opinion. So Diggs restructured his contract. Why do you think? Maybe Diop. I know you were tired of speaking about Diop. No. And so I think he just did it just because he knew that there was also some players out there like a Sherfield, a Hardy. And plus, man, restructuring contracts aren't a bad thing for players, right? Don't think that means that they're taking less. A lot of the times they're receiving a massive deposit. They're receiving a massive deposit up front. So definitely don't think that that's the case. That's me. And so I think McKenzie was mad about the same thing. He spoke on Dorsey not adjusting during games. He did during that one podcast, which is absolutely crazy. McKenzie was a Butterfingers all year. He was. So DF Forever says, and so I think our entire chat should open with yo ho ho Dan. Respect. Yeah, absolutely. Once you come in, yo ho ho. A great thing. And so I just subscribed earlier this week and log on from work to boost my day midday. Daniel, dude, listen, man, I sincerely appreciate that. Welcome to the show. Honestly, like I said, it's going to be 2 times a day, Monday through Friday. And so unless, of course, it's a holiday or the weekends. I typically don't do anything on the weekends. I do TikTok stuff, sometimes a YouTube short for the off season, at least, right? But yeah, most definitely subscribe. I'm very consistent when it comes onto these streams. I'll have a 5 p.m. stream, happy hour later. So welcome to the family, man. Super excited to have you along. And so a better offensive line will solve everything. Oh, absolutely. I'm not sure if you guys ended up watching our offensive line tape review last week, but it was definitely a difficult watch. That is 110% for sure. But we'll see, man. We'll see. Brandon Day, factually proved that by adding Brown and Beasley. Tried to fill those holes. Didn't work. Look at that. And so I watched Jay's 17 highlights from last year and the first 7 games or so, and the Bills were unstoppable. And then that injury happened, right? Or then defenses started seeing, oh, this Dorsey guy just refuses to adjust. He never adjusts. Crazy stuff. So Acho, is it Kevin? What's that mean? King Jamie comes in and says that Nick Wright is a Chiefs fan. He's a poser, and I bet he hasn't been to a game in Kansas City in 2 decades. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. And so play calling in the playoffs on offense and defense was weak. We need to get more creative if we're going to compete in the playoffs. Absolutely. I don't need to see a Josh Allen bomb once every other 3 plays. I don't. I love Josh Allen bombs, but let's make some moves here. Let's make some moves here. We did end up going through the film. Randy, we did end up going through the film of that Cincinnati game, and it was wild. Cook, Harris, Murray. Be kind and support your boy Dan by smashing that ever-loving crap out of the like button. You have to do that. You have to smash that like button. It's just how these things work. Absolutely love it. Jason Phillips is coming in saying, if the Bills hypothetically don't make the playoffs 2 years in a row, they will blow it up and rebuild around Josh Allen. We're going to make the playoffs this year. Easy. I think we're still going to win the division quite handedly, in my opinion, but we'll see. Hey, Dan, I think it's Dorsey, his play right now. Money 3 running back. Sherfield is going to have a role. Oh, he definitely is. He definitely is. And so I got a little excited. Based off of the reports from minicamp from the guy. I definitely did. And I made the take. I was like, we just found our wide receiver too. It might be the overreaction of the year, but I'm excited about Sherfield. And so even my friends that follow the Dolphins are excited about him too. Surprisingly, Hardy has been quite successful on the outside. Interesting. At his side, dude, I think training camp is going to be very telling. Hardy has had no production. How is he all of a sudden going to be a wide receiver number 2? Hardy is 5'6", barely. The problem with Hardy is he needs to be a better route runner for his size. And so McDermott ranked the 22nd best coach. Listen, man, we have a lot of things to talk about at 5 p.m. today. And so the focus of the stream at 5 p.m. is going to be the disrespect the Buffalo Bills have been seeing. It's bad. In the first 3 games, they know what to change, hopefully. Cold-blooded SCG. Teams don't need permission to restructure a player's contract. They don't. And 9 times out of 10, it's not as bad for the player as you think it is. 4 out of the top 5 receivers we have at our roster are contracted through 2024. Outside of Gabe Davis. Jason Phillips, he was hurt last year. Look at his advanced stats. Don't just look at the box score. Number 2. People forget that besides the bad offensive line, the Bills wide receivers had a high drop rate, one of the highest in the league. I have no idea what it was. Was it throws from Josh Allen, or was it just because of the Butterfingers? Was it the fact that he throws bullets? We don't know. Gabe Davis is average in every metric. Nothing about his game jumps out at you. Speed, hands, vertical, at all average. I think his only redeeming factor is his poise on the sideline. And so his ability to get 10 toes down on the sideline when you need him. I just really hope that this year, he absolutely balls out, because really when it comes down to it, he's going to have to, because he's an unrestricted free agent next year. So he's either going to be playing to get another contract for the Bills, or at the very least have a tryout or have a showcase for any other team that would be willing to have that. And so Hardy is only 5'6". Yeah, he's 5'6", bro. And you know that, dude, half of NFL players add an inch, 110%. Showstopper. Hey, Dan. And so do you think we would do better if we brought back the Buffalo Jills? I think so. I think that everyone needs a little bit of additional motivation on the side, or perhaps it might be a distraction. We don't even know. What's the name of the podcast that Diggs talked about Dorsey's adjustments? That wasn't Diggs. That was McKenzie that did it. I'm not sure what the podcast was, but there's clips about it on Twitter. Hey, Dan, I think it's Dorsey's play call. Maybe coaching our play calling never changed. Get number 2 receiver is needed. Well, we will see how hard he plays, because he is small, but he is super fast and has elite hands with good route running. Elijah is coming in. So And so they need motivation to play better, trusting each other, absolutely. And so I figured it. And so I figured it out. And so Diggs realized the Super Bowl window is closed, and now he was wasting his talent in Buffalo. Super Bowl window ain't closed, man. Far away. Glenn, hope you had a wonderful weekend. And so the problem with the offense, no run and one legit wide receiver. Well, Alpha Rob, I think we might have fixed our issues when it comes into overall run game. I'm very high on Damian Harris. Love Latavius Murray for short yardage situations. I feel like we'll be okay. Personally, I love it that Diggs is putting out our team on the hot seat. The wake-up call is supported. Listen, man, if this has to be bickering Bills 2.0 2023, sign me up, because we all know what happened after that. Bills will make the playoffs. You guys are getting the same treatment the Chiefs got last year. Don't think too much about the media BS. I love that. Dude, TDR is coming in. TDR is coming in. Trying to, oh man, listen, that was the best news I've ever had in my entire life. I hope that we follow your footsteps. I really hope we follow your footsteps this year. Dorsey's play calling was fine for the first half of the season. We were crushing people. I think we didn't adjust good to the colder weather. It's pretty tough. Like, I think that we need to adjust to the cold weather, especially considered where we're located. Samuel's coming in. What's up, Dan? I hope with all of this speed to the outside with Steph and Sherfield will open things for Cook coming out of the backfield. Nick Wright is from Raytown, just outside of Kansas City. He's definitely been a Chiefs fan for most of his life. Khalil Shakir looks a little bigger this year. Dude, I hope so. So I hope he went on ahead and added some weight. And so I really wanted James Cook to add some weight this offseason. I really definitely did. And so I think it's going to be Justin Shorter. I mean, listen, I love rookies. But there's always something in the back of my head where I try to like curb my expectations, because there's going to be a learning curve going from college, especially once you get into those later rounds, right? And so I think Bills come out with a whole new offensive look this season, just like Levy. And so I think they do need permission. Dan, you have to look at Gabe's average depth of target. That's a big factor in his lower catch percentages. Josh, that is an absolute great take. It really is. Like, I mean, like this guy right here, like very few depth of targets, right? Like very few short yardage depth of targets, right? Like anytime I like reflect on an overall Gabe Davis target, like dude's at least like 10 yards downfield, right? 7, 8, maybe. That does play a factor. And there's a lot of things that come into context when it comes into drop rates, when it comes into everything. So maybe at the end of the day, it does equal out to that. This is absolutely crazy. 188 people in this live stream right now, 11 a.m. Completely blows my mind, guys. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming in. Make sure you smash that like button. Listen, it is entirely free. It takes less than a second, and it helps me out significantly with that YouTube algorithm. And subscribe. Join the family. I go live twice a day, Monday through Friday. And make sure you don't miss one, baby, because we talk a lot about stuff. Next stream is going to be about how the Buffalo Bills, how our friends here, right? And so next thing comes down into the overall Buffalo Bills and why they're starting to get disrespected. DF Forever says, Dan, stop talking until you get 100 likes. No, man, not at all. I'm going to go out ahead and just trust the Bills Mafia and whoever else is tuning in to make it work. And so, you know how John Murphy is doing? It would be great to have him back. I haven't heard in a long time. Hopefully soon, right? Let me see. John Murphy, Buffalo Bills. Let's see. I thought I heard something about like health issues or something like that. It was his mother, unfortunately. It's quite sad. Hopefully he's doing good. Voice of the Bills, great guy. Like, definitely always loved hearing his feedback on the Bills. It was great. We have Scott F. saying that the Cheatriots were in the Super Bowl. And so the Cheatriots were in the Super Bowl conversation for 20 years with Crybaby. So why is the media saying the Bills Super Bowl window is closing in only 5 years? It's trolls, man. It's trolls. Listen, let the trolls talk in the offseason, because then they get super quiet once it starts getting into playoff conversation. It definitely does. That's because Davis is not as good as those short routes, can't create separation. Some players are good at route running. Some are known for their hands. Gabe Davis is not known for his route running, man. He's not. And so the Bills have so much potential on being great, but they always crumble. when it comes to the playoffs. Luis, listen, not this year, baby. Never happens this year. So he was at practice last week. He was. Yeah, dude. He was at second day, and then his first day was an excused absence. McDermott could have quite easily. Oh, damn. For a second, I thought it was rain. I said McDermott could have quite easily avoided that whole media blow up if he quite simply just said, hey, yeah, and so Diggs has an excused absence. He'll be here tomorrow. But he let his feels get in, and then that just makes things happen. So is Diggs mad that Frazier got the boot? No, I think that it really came down to the fact that he just wants to be involved in play calling. And so he wants to at least have a seat at the table when it comes into overall adjustments, games, whatever. So Diggs' first interview back is going to break the internet, 1,000%. Is anybody worried about Josh getting too deep into his social life and losing focus on the more important issues? No, not at all. Not at all, man. Not at all. He'll be fine. Listen, man, all he needs is just somebody that's not crazy. I think that him dating that high-profile celebrity is a good thing because she has her own life going on. She's an actress. She's a singer. I think that she's just as busy. I think that it's good for Josh, and I think that she's going to be great for him, and I think he's pretty well focused on it. From what I understand, it sounded like minicamp went very well for the Buffalo Bills. So Jason Phillips, are you okay? Johnny, and so always prefer our team to be disrespected on the media. It fuels them. With Chiefs fans that are obsessed with the Bills, no. I would say it's more Dolphins fans that are obsessed with us than the Chiefs. And so McDermott dropped the ball in those press conferences. He really did. This entire conversation wouldn't be happening right now if he just chose his words a bit more carefully. It's just sort of how these things work out. But, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to yet another edition of Don Mafia Live, brought to you by the Monta Sleep Mask. If you love a good night's sleep, the Monta Sleep Mask is where you need to be, ladies and gentlemen. It's how it is. Definitely check that link out in my bio and grab yourself one. Great gift for the family. I will be live again at 5 p.m. EST to discuss, why the Bills have been being so disrespected. So make sure, if you haven't subscribed already, do so. And make sure you turn on those notifications because that stream is about to be lit. So happy to be seeing all of these new people in the chat, guys. Definitely warms my heart. And I look forward to seeing you a little bit later. Thank you so much for tuning in. And before I let you go, you better always remember, let's go Buffalo.